Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen, some Resident Evil Reboot news. This is the brand new film. Well, yeah, film reboot, I guess. This is an interesting one, actually, because it is kind of a reboot, but also kind of isn't. So, the director of this is Zach Kreger, the chap behind Barbarian, and also his latest upcoming film, Weapons, which looks very, very interesting. Now, he managed to win out this sort of reboot film franchise prospect, and he's got quite an interesting take on it. One which I don't necessarily hate the sound of, but I also don't necessarily love it either. And you can see from the headline, Resident Evil Reboot director says some liberties will be taken, but the law will be respected. Now, I don't hate any of that. You know, the liberties part can be concerning, but the end part, the law will be respected, you know, potentially reassures me that things will be better and it will go okay. But I thought we'd take a look at this. I think this will be quite controversial to some people, and others will be like, yeah, okay, let's see how it goes. Surely it can't be any worse than Mila Jovovich. I'm butchering her name. It can't be any worse than that, can it? Surely. Well, we'll see. We will see. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Do turn the bell notifications on. Let's dive right into it. So, again, won't strictly follow the games, apparently, but it will stay true to the series lore, and it will try to capture the atmosphere of the games, right? So, as a concept, you know, as a thought experiment, I quite like the sound of this. So Zach Kreger, best known for Barbarian and Weapons, the upcoming film, is a devoted fan of the Resident Evil franchise, especially Resident Evil 4. Still, he has clarified that his upcoming film reboot of Capcom's iconic horror series will not follow the plot of any one game, which I actually don't think that's a bad idea. I think... Now, here's how I would do it. You let me know if you think this is a good take or not. But how I would do it, and this is why I don't think it's a bad idea to not follow the plot of the game, is that you don't have to do a retelling of the games when the Resident Evil world is as big as it is. You could just have a story in the film universe, the game universe, that is off tangentially to one side whilst those events are still happening. Now, that's not necessarily what they're doing here, but I don't hate that as a concept. I actually think that could work really, really, really well. You know? This world exists, the lore exists, we're acknowledging that it exists, everything's happening in the games, that's fine, but actually what you didn't see in the games is what we're going to be telling. You know, an offshoot story. I think that's how you could do it anyway. Not necessarily that they're going to be doing that, because they're not, but never mind. That's how I would do it, put it that way. So, rather than retelling an existing story, Kreger plans to create something original that still captures the overall tone, atmosphere, and core themes of the games. His goal is to stay faithful to the spirit of the franchise, whilst exploring new territory within its universe. Which kind of sounds like what I've said, but not. And you'll see what I mean in his sort of dialogue here. So, he spoke to SFX magazine. And he says, I'm a gigantic Resident Evil game fan. I've played them all. I don't know how many times I've just looped Resident Evil 4 again and again. I just love it. I'm definitely not trying to be completely obedient to the lore of the games. I'm trying to tell a story that just feels authentic to the experience you get when you play the games. So Zach Kreger is fully aware that his creative direction for the Resident Evil reboot might not sit well with every fan, especially given how much the previous film series by Paul W.S. Anderson veered away from the original games. So he said the following: I don't think I'm breaking any major rules. And I think that's interesting, right? So he says, I'm not trying to be completely obedient to the lore of the games, but I'm not breaking any major rules. So that, again, that kind of is positive, isn't it? But I also recognise that no matter what I do, people are going to come for me online. So all I want to do is make a really good movie and tell a story that's compelling. I know I'm going to be proud of it, and hopefully others will be too. Don't hate that. Like, I'm intrigued to see how it plays out, put it that way. But I don't hate it upon face value, hearing this. You know, I'm not like instantly like, oh, this is crap. You know, what's going on here? This is garbage, right? And I think if he did what I suggested, I actually think that could be quite interesting, actually. So this is the original article over on Games Radar, which is also part of SFX magazine or whatever, I don't bloody know. But there's some interesting bits and pieces, basically, some quite interesting bits and pieces in here. You know, and he does have a compelling take on horror just generally. So I don't know. What do you think of this? It says this: it's not even begun filming yet. Little is known about Kreger's big screen Resident outing, which he co-wrote with Shay Hatton, though there are rumours circulating that it'll centre on a down-on-his-luck courier who's tasked with delivering a package to a remote hospital. En route, he finds himself caught in the middle of a viral apocalypse and forced to fight hordes of mutated creatures. Austin Abrams, who is in Euphoria and Wolves, is the only actor linked to the project so far, and even then his involvement has not been confirmed. I mean, if that is true, right? If this is true, that it's a down-on-his-luck courier who's been paid to deliver a package to a remote hospital, and then he just finds himself in the middle of a viral apocalypse. That sounds absolutely like what I said. You know? Like, yeah, those other things are happening, but this also works. That could be wicked. So the film will mark the second collaboration between Kreger and Abrams, if that guy is cast, following upcoming mystery thriller Weapons, starring Dune's Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. That'll be interesting. It'll be really, really interesting. I mean, this movie has a release date. This Resident Evil movie has a release date, and it's a theatrical release, right? September 18th, 2026. So it could be quite... I mean, this could be good. But again, that whole, well, I'm going to take liberties. It's like, well, it's not really said that. What do you guys think? Good? Bad? I mean, surely it can't be any worse than the nonsense Netflix Resident Evil series we had. Good lord, that was terrible. That was bloody atrocious. That was crap. Anyway, cheers guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.